Let me begin with a story. An elderly man once said to me, "I never realized how much my dinner plate was shaping my future until I felt my legs grow weak and my memory fade." His words carried a simple truth. What we eat after 60 is not just food, it is fuel for the quality of the years we have left after 60. Our bodies are like a well-used but treasured home. Some doors creak, some walls need support, and the foundation demands more care than ever before. This is not the time to feed our body carelessly. It is the time to choose each bite as though it were medicine, because, in many ways, it is. There is a wisdom in nature that often escapes us when we eat without awareness. After 60, the body begins to whisper truths it once shouted quietly. Some foods that once energized us now drain us. Some meals that once seemed harmless begin to leave behind discomfort, heaviness, and even pain. The truth is, not every vegetable serves us equally in this stage of life. And while vegetables are generally celebrated as the guardians of health, we must understand that what was beneficial in our youth may turn into a burden as our body grows older. I once spoke with an elderly woman who told me, "When I was younger, I could eat a mountain of potatoes and feel ready to climb another. Now, a single serving feels like a stone in my stomach." Her reflection was not one of complaint, but of recognition. She had realized that her body had changed, and with it, her relationship to food needed to change as well. The foods we put into our body after 60 are not just nutrients. They are decisions that either grant us freedom or quietly take it away. One of the first vegetables we must look at closely is corn. Corn has long been a staple in many households. It reminds us of gatherings, of warmth, of traditions that bring people together. But traditions sometimes carry silent costs. Corn is rich in starch, and in the body of a 60-year-old, this starch behaves differently than it does in the body of a 30-year-old. It converts quickly into sugar, leading to spikes that the body struggles to manage. The result is not just a temporary feeling of fullness, but fatigue that sets in later, aching joints that complain more, and a heaviness in the legs that makes a short walk feel like a long journey. Consider this thought. The food you eat can be either the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. The sweetness of corn lingers, not just on the tongue but in the bloodstream, where it quietly inflames and disrupts balance. For someone over 60, this can mean higher risk of weight gain, more difficulty controlling blood sugar, and a decline in mobility. Potatoes are another, a friend from the past that sometimes betray us in later years. White potatoes, in particular, are like polished stones. On the outside, harmless and comforting, yet inside, they carry a starch that raises blood sugar swiftly and without mercy. A senior gentleman once told me, "I loved my mashed potatoes more than anything, but every time I had them, my knees reminded me why I should not." His words carried humor, but also a lesson. The body does not lie. It responds honestly to what we feed it, and potatoes, though filling and familiar, can leave many seniors with stiff joints, swollen legs, and an energy crash that makes the day feel heavier than it truly is. This is not about removing joy from the table, but about recognizing the subtle changes that occur when the body has walked through 6 decades of life. Potatoes, like corn, belong to the category of foods that once served us but now demand more than they give. To continue eating them daily is to carry a weight we no longer need to bear. Then there is the curious case of eggplant. Beautiful to look at, versatile in flavor, beloved in many traditional dishes. Yet, for some, this vegetable holds hidden thorns. Eggplant is part of the nightshade family, and for those with sensitive joints or arthritis, it can act like a quiet flame, fueling inflammation and making each step a reminder of its presence. I recall the story of an elderly man who adored his eggplant curry. He could not imagine a week without it. Yet he noticed that on days after eating it, his hands felt stiffer, his ankles swelled more, and his evening walk grew shorter. At first, he dismissed it as coincidence, but as he became more mindful, he realized the connection was clear. Sometimes the foods we love most are the very ones keeping us from the comfort we long for. It is easy to think that vegetables are universally safe, that if it grows from the earth, it must be good. But wisdom asks us to look deeper. The truth is that after 60, digestion slows, inflammation rises more easily, and blood sugar must be handled with greater care. The very foods that once built our strength can now, quietly and without announcement, take it away. Now let us consider why avoiding such foods is not about restriction but about liberation. Imagine carrying a bag filled with stones on your back each day. You have grown so accustomed to the weight that you barely notice it anymore. But the moment someone removes a few stones, you suddenly realize how light walking can feel. This is what happens when we let go of the foods that secretly burden us. Energy returns, the legs feel less heavy, the mind becomes clearer. It is not that we suddenly became younger, it is that we stopped feeding what was making us older than we truly are. When we choose with awareness, we give ourselves back the small freedoms that make life rich. The freedom to enjoy a morning walk without knee pain, the freedom to bend down and tie our shoes without stiffness, the freedom to feel light after a meal instead of sleepy and heavy. These freedoms cannot be bought with medicine, but they can be nourished with the right choices on our plate. There is a saying, we are not only what we eat, we are also what we do not eat. By choosing to avoid corn, potatoes, and eggplant, after 60, we create space for the body to heal, to strengthen, and to restore balance. It is not about what we are giving up, but about what we are inviting in: more energy, more clarity, more mobility, and more joy in the simple acts of daily living. Think of your body as a garden that has weathered many seasons. Some plants must now be pulled out to allow space for others to flourish. Removing what no longer serves us is not a loss. It is a gift to the soil of our being. Each decision we make at the table is a seed planted for the future of our health. When we plant wisely, we harvest strength, clarity, and peace of mind. In this stage of life, we do not eat merely to survive. We eat to live fully, to continue, enjoying the beauty of mornings, the laughter of grandchildren, and the quiet comfort of evenings without pain. The vegetables we choose or choose to avoid are not small matters. They are the difference between a body that drags and a body that dances. Even in its later years, when we talk about health after 60, it is not only about what we must reduce or avoid, but equally about what we must invite into our lives each day. Many people think that staying healthy in later years is only about cutting back less sugar, less salt, less fat. But health is not built on subtraction alone. It is built on the nourishment we add. The foods we choose can either build a stronger tomorrow or slowly take it away. This is where the power of the right vegetables becomes so vital. I once sat with a man who had just celebrated his 72nd birthday. He was cheerful, active, and full of energy. Curious, I asked him what kept him so vibrant while many of his peers complained about fatigue and weakness. He smiled and said, "I never miss my 3 daily companions: spinach, carrots, and broccoli." For him, these were not just foods. They were daily rituals, silent guardians of his independence. His words carried more truth than many medical textbooks because they came from lived experience. Spinach is often underestimated, yet it is one of the most powerful gifts nature provides. Its soft leaves carry iron, magnesium, and a host of antioxidants that fuel both body and mind. After 60, muscles tend to weaken and bones lose their density. Spinach supports both, helping to prevent cramps that disturb the night and keeping the blood rich with oxygen for energy during the day. There is a saying, strength does not come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things you thought you could not. For many seniors, simply walking without pain or standing without support can feel like overcoming a mountain. Spinach nourishes those small but important victories. I recall a woman in her late 60s who shared her story of struggling with constant leg cramps. She had tried supplements, warm baths, and even massages, but nothing seemed to bring her relief. Then she began adding a bowl of lightly steamed spinach to her daily lunch. Within weeks, she noticed her cramps fading and her nights becoming peaceful again. She laughed and said, "Who knew such a simple leaf could give me back my sleep?" Sometimes the solutions we seek are not in pills or treatments, but in the quiet wisdom of the foods we choose. Carrots, with their bright orange glow, carry more than just beauty. They are rich in beta-carotene, which the body transforms into vitamin A for seniors. This means sharper vision, a stronger immune system, and skin that heals gracefully. Vision, in particular, becomes a treasure after 60. The ability to read without strain, to watch the smile of a grandchild clearly, or to see the path during an evening walk. These are moments we often take for granted until they begin to fade. Carrots help protect that gift. An elderly gentleman once shared that he had always loved gardening. At 70, his eyesight had begun to blur, and he worried he would have to give up his hobby. But with mindful changes, including a daily portion of carrots, his eye health improved, and he was able to continue planting, weeding, and enjoying the flowers he loved so much. He told me, "It's not about living longer. It's about seeing the beauty of the days I have left." His words remind us that food is not only fuel, it is the bridge to experiences that bring joy and meaning. Then there is broccoli, a vegetable many people overlook or even avoid in their youth, but which becomes a quiet hero after 60. Is rich in calcium and vitamin K, essential for bone strength. Our bones are the silent pillars that carry us through life. When they weaken, our world shrinks. Stairs become obstacles, walks become shorter, and independence feels threatened. Broccoli helps guard those pillars, ensuring they remain strong enough to support the life we wish to live. I once heard a story of a woman who, in her 80s, was still able to carry her great-granddaughter around the garden. When asked how she managed to keep her bones so strong, she laughed and said, "I never skipped my broccoli." Behind her humor was a truth. Consistency in choosing nourishing foods pays off in the moments that matter most. The right vegetables also serve the mind. Spinach feeds the brain with folate and magnesium, helping protect against memory decline. Broccoli carries antioxidants that shield the brain's cells, and carrots support circulation that keeps the mind alert. A sharp memory and steady focus are not luxuries, they are the foundation of independence. As one wise elder once said, "A clear mind is the greatest wealth of old age." It is not only the nutrients in these vegetables that matter, but also the discipline of eating them daily. Just as a tree grows strong not from one day of sunlight but from years of steady nourishment, so too does the body flourish from consistent care. Choosing spinach, carrots, and broccoli each day is not about adding one more item to your plate. It is about building a foundation for energy, clarity, and strength that supports every moment you wish to enjoy. Some might ask, is it really necessary to eat them daily? Can't I just include them now and then? To this I say, imagine watering a plant only once a week. It may survive, but will it thrive? Our bodies are no different. After 60, the margin for neglect grows thinner. Daily choices matter more than ever. Each portion of spinach, each serving of carrots, each bite of broccoli is like a drop of water keeping the roots of your health alive and strong. There is a beautiful proverb that says, do not regret growing older. It is a privilege denied to many. But to truly honor that privilege, we must care for the vessel that carries us through these years. That care is found not in grand gestures, but in small, daily acts of wisdom, choosing the foods that strengthen rather than weaken, the foods that give rather than take away. The vegetables you invite to your table are more than flavors. They are companions on your journey. Some will lift you, offering energy, clarity, and strength. Others will weigh you down, even if they once served you well. The art lies in knowing the difference and choosing with awareness. When you sit down to eat, you are not just feeding hunger, you are shaping the quality of your days, the sharpness of your mind, and the freedom of your steps. So, let us not think of this as a list of restrictions, but as a path toward freedom, the freedom to walk without pain, to think with clarity, and to embrace each day with energy. Remember this, the choices we make today decide the stories we tell tomorrow. And when you sit down for your next meal, imagine your plate as a garden where wisdom has guided the planting. Remove the corn, the potatoes, and the eggplant that silently burden you. Instead, invite spinach, carrots, and broccoli to your table. With them, invite vitality, strength, and the quiet joy of well-being.